Welcome, my political friends of the interwebs. Well, I can officially say that I have watched more television in the last 3 days than I have in the last 3 years. This was the last night, as you know, of the Republican National Convention in Tampa, Florida, and it was a good night. There were some good speakers. My takeaway from this 3 days of what amounts to a love fest for Republicans is that, truthfully, the Republican Party is a lot more diverse than anybody would lead you to believe, especially if you get your information from MSNBC. Because if you listen to MSNBC spin their narrative, it basically makes the Republican Party out to be the party of rich old white guys. And I think if you took the time to really watch this last 3 days, this convention, you will know that we are not a party of rich old white guys. We are a very diverse party with a lot of people of various color. And I think that makes our party strong. And the truth of the matter is that my Republican Party is a big tent party that welcomes all people that have conservative views, whether that's fiscally conservative or religiously conservative. We are a big tent party. Not all of us believe the same thing, but for the most part, we agree on one thing. The liberals are crazy. Liberalism is a mental disorder. We all pretty much agree on that. So anyway, the speakers, there were some, listen, I know what I'm about to say is going to freak a lot of people out, but I'll tell you what, it was good for me at least. It was good to see Jeb Bush. I've always liked Jeb Bush. I know there are people who, oh my God, they hear the word Bush and they freak the hell out. But let me tell you something. Regardless of what you think, that family has served this country well and honorably through times of war and peace, and with the best of intentions. And that's the way I truly feel about it. If you're not a fan of the Bushes, that's fine. But I'll tell you this. Regardless of how you feel about the Bushes, I will say that it was nice to hear Jeb Bush basically say to Barack Obama, and I'm going to paraphrase here, stop blaming my brother. And I think that was nice. For me, that was nice. Because it's about damn time he stops blaming George Bush for every damn little thing. And that goes for all the Democrats. Because it's tiring. It's getting old. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. You did not hear Ronald Reagan crying about what Jimmy Carter had left him with. You know, one of my favorite Facebook quotes is firemen inherit messes also, but you don't see them pour gasoline on it. You know? So, yeah. Anyway, it was nice for me to see Jeb Bush. Now, listen, and here's another thing. There was a lot of his speech. Another thing too. And here's a question for everybody. And let me know in the comment section what you think, because Barack Obama. Because his father was a Kenyan, and he's considered to be African American because of his heritage there. If you look at Mitt Romney, apparently his father was born in Mexico. So would that not make Mitt Romney technically the first Mexican American president if he was so elected? That's the question, because I think it does. I think that Mitt Romney has that legacy of being Mexican American. So let me know what you think about that. I just think that Obama, it's like, as far as minority status goes, he plays that to the hill. Nobody ever says the white Obama or the half white Obama or the mulatto Obama or anything like that. It's always the black Obama or the African American Obama. He loves being African American. Well, as long as he doesn't have to produce any kind of birth certificates. Now, listen, everybody, relax. I'm just trying to have a little fun here. Okay, well, another interesting thing, Romney's son, one of his sons, he has 5 sons. One of his sons actually came and spoke some pretty good Spanish. Apparently, and I've not seen a ton of them, but because I don't watch a lot of TV, but apparently his son does a lot of his Spanish-speaking commercials for his dad, and his Spanish is excellent. Though you would know that listening to MSNBC slam him. In fact, what Chris Matthews says, he speaks a little Spanish. Well, I watched him talk in Spanish. I'd say he does a little better than that. There was a lot of Spanish being spoke tonight, that's for sure. So, which brings me to, well, I'm going to skip a lot of the other people. Let's just go to the person that was probably the most anticipated of the evening. and that was Clint Eastwood, Mr. Make My Day. Listen, he's 82 years old. I'm going to say something about Clint. I get where he was trying to go, and it was funny, and it did make me laugh a couple of times, but it was not as well rehearsed as it should have been. And honestly, it was a ballsy attempt, and because he's 82, he gets a pass from me. He's really, he's a smart guy. He is. He's a smart guy, and he's been a Republican. Though he did say there were lots of Republicans in Hollywood, and that may be true, but very few of them have had the cojones to actually declare their loyalty to the Republican Party. That's a fact. Very few of them have gotten to the kind of power that Clint Eastwood has in Hollywood, where he doesn't have to, or they don't have to worry about being blackballed. Because I do know people who work in the entertainment industry who are conservative, but will tell you kind of in hushed tones that that's the case, but will also tell you that they can't come out publicly and say that, or they would be quote-unquote blackballed. So, anyway, Clint Eastwood did a kind of a little vaudeville act. He interviewed Obama to an empty chair, which if you really think about it, that's what Obama is. He's an empty suit. He's an empty chair. He's an empty office. There's no substance there. So in all honesty, I'm not sure that that's what Clint was getting at, but that's kind of the connection that I made to the whole thing. And but I thought it was interesting. I thought he had some interesting things to say. Was it the most dynamic speech given in the last 3 days? No, not at all. But Clint's always been. It's funny. He's always been kind of a soft-spoken man, even in his movies. He's not real boisterous. He's not like John Wayne screaming, "Fill your hands, you son of a bitch," Clint's always been kind of like a lower tone. So, I don't know. Anyway, but Clint did okay. He did okay. But I'll tell you what. I am telling you right now, mark my words, Marco Rubio someday he will be running for president. I was going to say will be president. He may very well be president someday. I will tell you that he is a very sharp young man, and he's got a great story to tell. And the thing that I like about especially Cubans, the one thing that I've always loved about Cubans that managed to get to this country, Cubans that have that legacy of fleeing communism, they get it. They get it. They're not trying to go back to communist ways. They get it. They know what they were fleeing. They weren't fleeing poverty. Of course they were, but they weren't fleeing poverty. They were fleeing oppression. They were fleeing the iron boot of communism. And that's what I love about Cubans, and that's what I love about their particular brand of Hispanic. They understand the evils of communism more than most people do. And I think that that's important, especially when you consider what's going on in the world. You've got these hybrid communist countries like China now that it embraces the capitalism to be able to make the money to support their communism. And trust me, this whole show that they're putting on for the world is just that. It's a show. And if you have any questions about that, why don't you really do some homework on political prisoners in China, or look and see how they treat their dissidents, or their freedom of speech over there, or the lack thereof. I mean, communist countries, no matter what kind of a smiley face they put on it, and we've embraced capitalism. Trust me when I tell you, these are evil, evil, evil governments. And the same goes for Putin and his Russia. Now, maybe that changes, but I don't know. I see some of the things that Putin does, and I know I have subscribers and friends that are connected over there, or in fact, one lives in Russia. But I'm telling you, sometimes you get too close to something, you can't see it. But I think Putin's dangerous. I think he's dangerous to the world. And let us not forget that both Russia and China both have enough nuclear weapons to destroy the earth. Something to think about. And at a time when, if you look what Obama's State Department's contemplating, or at least studying the feasibility of completely dismantling our nuclear stockpiles, it's some scary shit. because that leaves us without a nuclear deterrent in a very dangerous world. That's the kind of nonsense you get from these extreme leftists that are in the Obama administration. So anyway, so Marco Rubio introduces Mitt Romney. And Mitt Romney comes out and gives a decent speech. Now, Romney's not fiery. That's one of the nice things about him having Paul Ryan as his vice president. Romney's more of a kinder and gentler man. And there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you're willing to walk softly and carry a big stick. And I think he would be. But, you know, I didn't expect fire and brimstone, because you're not going to get that from Romney. Although I like a fiery speech. I'm not going to lie. You know, I do. I like a fiery speech. And when I'm in a church, I like a fiery sermon. I mean, I know a lot of people don't, but that's, you know, it's kind of how I roll, you know. But yeah, you know, he gave a solid speech. He took some shots at Obama's lack of business experience, which shows, by the way. He talked about who he was and where he came from, and a little bit about his father. And I learned things that I didn't know, you know. I learned enough. You know, it's interesting. It actually sparked an interest in me. I would like to know more about his father, because his father seems to have been the American dream. He's born in Mexico, comes to this country as a tradesman, and ends up becoming the head of well, I think it was AMC, American Motors Corporation. I mean, that's pretty impressive. I mean, that's the American dream. That's amazing to me. Yeah, I think that I don't know. I liked the speech. I liked where he says he's going. I liked a lot of the things that he had to say. So, but anyway, got him already over 12 minutes, and you know me, I can babble on about this stuff. And I swear to you, this was not meant to be a long video. But let me know in the comment section what you think. I'm ready. I'm fired up. I'm excited about sending Obama packing. I will, as much as it's going to kill me, I will do my best to commit to watching the entire Democratic National Convention. Makes me nauseous thinking about it, but I will try to do that and report back. I don't really think of myself as a reporter. But, you know, I know a lot of you don't really watch television anymore, and I know a lot of you don't, you know, you just want to know what my take on all this stuff is, so I just gave it to you. There you go. Anyway, everybody, thanks for listening. See ya!